There is an emotional investment, I think, in the teaching of English, which makes it unlike any other subject. Okay, in this session we're having a look at the two texts which you can see there. The first one, which is source A, Are We Having Fun Yet? That is the text which is based around Glastonbury Festival. And text B, which is Greenwich Fair, Where Dickens Let His Hair Down, that's the second one. If you can remember when we talked about the idea of summary and synthesis, we said that to summarise is to draw out the main points, but to synthesise is to try to blend those two texts together. Now, although the question that we are working on is asking us for the biggest differences between the texts, in order to produce a piece of writing which shows synthesis, what we can't have is just pointing out the obvious differences. So we can't say, well, one is set in London and the other one is set in Glastonbury, or that one is an older text and one is a more modern text. Those things are true, but what we want to do is to identify the topic areas which are similar and then find the differences between the overlaps in the text. So what I would like you to do now is in your pair to jot down in the middle column between those two texts the key areas which link those two texts together.
Stalls.
So let's just go over very quickly some of the areas which link those two texts together. So Holly, what do you think a point of overlap between them is?
Weather.
Weather, brilliant. So that's the first one. Let's have another example of an overlap between them, Becky.
Music.
Music, okay. So clearly they both deal with the presentation of musical events in different ways. Let's have a third one. India, can you give me a third overlap between them?
The people.
The people, thank you. Let's have another overlap between them, Simon.
Activities.
The activities, okay. And then the final overlap between these two texts, Izzy, what did you get?
The stalls, which consists of food and drink.
Brilliant, okay. Now that we've got that information, we know what the key connections are. We have established the criteria. The question which we are focusing on is, what can you see and do there? So working in your pair, can you find me the key quotations and the key information about these criteria? Do that now, please. Write it on that board.
For people, you can talk about all the different carts that are coming and how it shows cultural.
So it was muddy.
So what can we see on the catch your bus
Start paragraphing.
Right, so we've had a think about the texts individually now. We need to work on bringing those two texts together. We've established similar criteria, but we are looking for the differences between those texts. So let's choose one of the criteria. Let's go for music, as that's an obvious one, if Glastonbury is featured in one of the texts. So, Leah, let's start off with you. Can you give me a point from your text and then choose someone to give me the alternative point?
It says that the acts for 2005 included Coldplay, Elvis, Costello and the American rock band The Killers.
Okay. So, before you pass it on, what kind of music have we got in that text?
Modern, recent music.
Modern, recent, lively. Are there any other kinds of music in there?
They have a 1950s style diner,
Okay.
which would include the older generation of music.
Possibly, or there could be a sense of what in that text?
Nostalgia?
Brilliant, there could be a sense of nostalgia, yeah. So can you pick somebody else now for the contrasting point?
Simon.
In the second source, the Greenwich Fair one, it contains music such as comic songs and pantomime, which contrasts with the modern music of the Killers as well as with the 1950s Elvis music.
Brilliant, and can you just take that one step further for me then? What kind of atmosphere is that creating in the second text, if it is pantomime and incidental music in the quotation that you've just given to me?
It would create a sense that would be more comical at the time, and it wouldn't take itself as seriously as would be seen in Glastonbury.
Okay, thank you.